The Jiangshi is typically a vampire from Chinese legends and folklore. The most peculiar difference is that in traditional folklore it hops in order to travel and for it to move in on its victims with its arms outstretched for balance and mobility. The most probable reason why these particular vampires move in this way is because of rigor mortis. Jiangshi literally means stiff corpse. It can range from looking like an ordinary person but stiff, or it can look horrible with old rotten flesh hanging from its bones. Like the Western vampire, it feeds on living creatures and humans in order to absorb their ki, or their life force. This creature originated from the Qing dynasty. Zhi Xiaolin, who was a great scholar from that era, mentioned in one of his books quite a few reasons why a corpse would be reanimated. The chemical composition of the burial ground inhibited the growth of bacteria, which either slowed the decay process or stopped it completely. Spirit possession. The body not being buried after funeral rites, and even a black cat jumping over the recently deceased. Much like the vampire and ghoul, another reason he lists is from being bitten by the creature, and over time the victim will succumb to Jiangshi virus. In Chinese philosophy and religion, more notably Taoism, it is said a person's body is governed by 3 Huns and 7 Pos, which are souls. The Huns are good and intelligent, and the Pos are foolish and evil. A scholar by the name of Yan Mei wrote that when a person dies, his Huns leave the body, but his Pos remain and take over the corpse. Like most of the undead, fire can be used to repel these types of creatures. Garlic, crucifixes, and holy water repels vampires, but there are quite a few more items on the list of things that can repel a Jiangshi. Take mirrors, for instance. The traditional Western vampire is said to have no reflection, however the Jiangshi cast one and are terrified of it. Another thing they hate is Bagua sign. In Taoist cosmology, these symbols represent the fundamental principles of reality. All one needs to do is present a Jiangshi with parchment with these symbols written on it, or even touch the parchment to their forehead, and they will retreat or even be defeated. Other things include jujube seeds, vinegar, azuki beans, and glutinous rice. A story that may give origin to the creature would be that sometimes the relatives of a person who died had very little money to have their loved one transported back home. They would hire a Taoist priest to perform a ritual to reanimate the corpse and send it hopping back home. The priest would do this only at night and would carry a bell with him. He would ring it while passing through villages in order to warn people of its presence, for it was bad luck for a living person to see a Jiangshi. Another story involves a folk practice in Jiangshi called Jiangshi Ganshi, which meant literally driving corpses in Jiangshi. Many people would leave the city to find work far away, but when they died, their corpses were brought back home by 2 men. They would tie the corpses upright to bamboo sticks on the sides, and one man would carry the 2 sticks on his shoulders in the front and one in the back. From a distance, the corpses could look like they were hopping while they bounced up and down from the bending bamboo. One of the most popular franchises that entail the hopping vampire is the Mr. Vampire series from Hong Kong. The first film was released in 1985 and was directed by Ricky Lau and produced by Sammo Hung, a very popular martial artist and actor. Its success spawned several sequels, Mr. Vampire 2 through 5, however they were not quite related to the first film, but they were all directed by Ricky Lau. All 5 films featured the hopping vampire and the traditional folklore that followed them. The very popular Unibrow Taoist priest appears in 4 of the films, and also in other media, unrelated simply because of how well known the actor had become throughout the series, and because of the actor that portrayed him in the first film, Lam Xingying, whose career as an actor skyrocketed because of his portrayal of the priest.